Welcome everyone. In this video, we are going to analyze and see if the price of XCN coin will rise from here. Don't forget to subscribe and like and watch until the end so you don't miss anything. In the previous video, we analyzed this falling trend line in detail and mentioned that it was a very important development for the price to break it. At that time, the price had broken this trend to the upside, but had not yet made a retest. In technical analysis, breaking a trend line is usually not enough on its own. The price needs to retest the broken level and continue its uptrend. This is because a broken resistance level becomes a strong support if there is a successful retest. That's why we've been waiting for the price to return to this area and retest it. Now, this is exactly the move we've been waiting for. After breaking the falling trend line, the price made a retest back to this level and got a strong reaction from here. It looks like it is now ready to move higher. This development is critical because a retest is an important step for investors to test the strength of the broken level. If the price gets a strong reaction during the retest without dipping below this level, this indicates that the uptrend will continue in a healthier way. In technical analysis, a successful retest usually increases the probability of the price moving higher. Looking at it now, we can see that the price is getting a nice reaction from this area and is preparing for an upside move. When a trend line is broken, it's natural for the price to come back and test it. This is because traders want to see if the price actually breaks through this level. If this test is successful and the price moves back up from here, then the breakout can be said to be more reliable. This is exactly the scenario that is happening right now. The price broke the falling trend line, which previously worked as resistance to the upside, then turned back to test it as support and successfully reacted. This paves the way for a bullish move. Technically speaking, the price retesting after breaking this falling trend line is a very positive sign. If the price continues to rise after the retest, we can say that this breakout is now finalized, and the price can test higher levels. Especially with the strengthening of buyers in this region, the possibility of the price continuing its upward movement has increased even more. If the price finds strong support here, and the buying pressure increases, the upward movement may gain more momentum, and the upper resistance levels may be tested. In our previous analysis, we mentioned that a retest is an important technical detail, and the fact that this scenario has now materialized is fully in line with our expectations. With the reaction of the price from this trend line, the potential for an upward movement is now quite strong. If the price continues to stay above this level and starts making new highs, we can expect the upward movement to accelerate further. Especially if the general sentiment in the market is also positive, the upside could be stronger and move towards critical resistance levels. At this point, volume data and other technical indicators are also important to track whether the uptrend will continue or not. If we don't look at them, our analysis will be incomplete, and we will miss something. Let's look at other indicators now. And looking at the chart again, we can see that the price is currently moving in a very important pattern. When we take a detailed look at the current price structure, we see a classic inverse shoulder head and shoulders pattern. This is an important reversal pattern in technical analysis that usually signals the end of downtrends and heralds a strong upside reversal. The fact that the price is currently at the last shoulder of this structure suggests that we are at a critical stage for a bullish reversal to begin. When we look at the logic of the reverse shoulder-head-shoulder pattern, we can say that the market is now starting to lose its bearish momentum, and buyers are gaining strength. Especially the fact that the price is in the last shoulder area of this structure increases the likelihood that buyers will step in and pull the market up. In technical analysis, we usually see the start of upward movements when such patterns are completed. This is because the lows formed in the downtrend are now protected, and the price starts to gain strength by forming higher lows. At this point, we need to measure the depth of the head to determine the target level of the pattern. Technically, the target of the inverse shoulder head and shoulders pattern is calculated by an upward movement equal to the depth of the head. So if the price breaks the neckline of this pattern, the minimum target is the depth of the head area. If the price breaks through this critical level, it may start a strong bullish wave and a new trend may be established in the market. Especially when we look at the reaction of the price at the last shoulder area, we can see that the buying pressure here is increasing and the market is preparing for a rise. If the price moves up to the neckline and breaks this level, the bullish movement will become much more pronounced. Technically, if this pattern works, the upside potential of the price could be quite high. However, the point to note here is that the neckline must be broken decisively and persist above this level. If the price breaks this zone in a voluminous way, we can say that the upward movement will be stronger. In terms of the overall structure of the pattern, it can be considered as a very positive development that the price stabilizes in the last shoulder area and receives an upward reaction from here. Because at this point, buyers stepping in and moving the price up is an important factor that will start the upward movement. If the price holds here and moves upwards, the neckline could be tested and then move towards the target level with a strong breakout. We may need some patience for the price to break the neck zone. When we look carefully at the price movements according to the Elliott wave theory, the first and second waves are still complete, as we mentioned in our previous analysis. However, there is an important change that should not be overlooked. The position of the first and second wave has shifted compared to our previous analysis. In other words, although there are some differences in the wave structure formed by the price, the overall pattern remains valid, and our main bullish scenario is still active. This suggests that we are still in the midst of a significant wave action in the market, and the probability of the third wave being triggered is increasing. The most critical point at the moment is whether the third wave has started or not. According to Elliott wave theory, the third wave is usually the strongest, with the highest momentum and the most violent price action. Therefore, this is one of the most important parts for traders to pay attention to. If the third wave moves as expected, we can expect the price to rise with strong momentum and move towards the target levels. Technically, the third wave is expected to reach the minimum yellow line Fibonacci level, but depending on the strength of the momentum in the market, it could also move towards the green line or even higher Fibonacci levels. Therefore, it is important to consider not only the fundamental targets, but also the potential for larger scale moves. Another factor to consider at this point is whether price action is supported by volume. Usually, during the third wave, there is a significant increase in volume and the price is expected to gain upward momentum with sharp movements. If the price action is not supported by volume, the third wave may be weaker than expected or delayed. Therefore, attention should be paid not only to the price structure, but also to volume indicators and other technical indicators. In the coming period, if the third wave starts, we are likely to see a sharp rise to the target areas. If the yellow and green lines are reached, it will be necessary to closely monitor how these levels will react. Because according to the Elliott wave theory, since the third wave is usually the longest and strongest wave, there is a possibility that the price will move hard without lingering in these areas for a long time. The third wave comes suddenly and people are surprised and panic buy and increase the price even more. So the third wave is the longest wave. Looking carefully at the MACD indicator, we can see that it is now at a critical point. The MACD line is moving around the zero level and is preparing to make an upside crossover. This type of structure is often considered as an important signal ahead of bullish moves, indicating that buying pressure is starting to build. The MACD, which is used to analyze momentum shifts in the markets, presents a very striking picture here. If the MACD line crosses the signal line to the upside and crosses above the zero level, this can be a strong confirmation that a bullish move has begun in the market. Such an intersection usually indicates that buyers are starting to enter the market and the price may gain upward momentum. Especially if this signal is supported by an increase in volume, it can be considered as an additional confirmation mechanism that the upside may be stronger. However, the MACD's positioning at the zero line is also a very important detail, because the zero level is considered a critical threshold for trend changes. If the price action really gains upward momentum and the MACD moves above the zero line, this could signal that the bulls are getting stronger in the market and the uptrend could accelerate. Also, when we look at past price action, we can see that similar MACD structures are often formed ahead of strong uptrends. If market conditions and other technical indicators also support this signal, the chances of the price moving upwards are quite strong. It has also already broken the downtrend, and if this intersection also happens, we will see a nice increase in the price. Yes, friends, I hope you liked the video. If you subscribe to my channel and like the video, more videos will be coming. Be careful in your investments, analyze the risks correctly, and always take strategic steps. I will be with you with different analyses, investment opportunities, and technical information in my videos. I wish you all a lot of profit. See you soon.